We all experience challenging and difficult situations in life. In the face of these complexities, it is not always clear how to respond, what to do, or what to avoid. It's easy to get stuck in these moments and stop moving forward in life. Wholeness with Naomi is a program that explores our experiences with such encounters and provides tools and strategies that can enable anyone facing these hardships to continue walking their path in life. We can't wait to meet you on this journey. Tune in, your life is about to change for the better.
Welcome to our program, Wholeness with Naomi, where we talk about difficult and sometimes different life situations that we find ourselves in. More importantly, to give you tools to be able to navigate in those difficult paths that you may be walking. A famous quote once said, "If you're not happy with where you are, move. You are not a tree." But what is it that stops one from moving? How can you move to get to that desired place? Today on the show, we're joined by Dr Mandipira, who is the Executive Director for School of Public Speaking. Welcome, sir, to the show.
Thank you very much, Naomi.
Yes. Today I want to just talk about yourself in light of the discussion that we have. How can one move from the place that they are to get to the desired place that they want to go? Maybe you can just briefly share with us about yourself, where you started, how the journey was like for you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful question, Naomi. My name is Blessing Mandipira, of course, and I grew up with my grandmother, who was a domestic worker. She lived in Cranbourne, and that's where we lived. I went to Cranbourne Boys High. That's where I learned. And like many other unrecorded failures or stories, mine was not an exemption.
Okay.
My grandmother, when I failed my O-levels, she decided to chase me away from home, 11 p.m. on a Friday night.
Okay.
And I left the house.
Okay. So just post Dr. Mandipira. So you had reached your O-levels and you had not done well.
Yes.
And your grandmother decided to chase you off.
That's right.
Okay.
So I left the house on a Friday night, 11 p.m. And I slept at a friend's house. And the next morning I was on the streets looking for a job.
Okay.
The job I got was a gardening position at a church called Cranbourne Community Church.
Okay.
I think for about 3 to 5 years I worked at that particular church. I remember small little kids who would call the top of their voices, "Hey you, Blessing, come here. Hey you, garden boy, come here." And I didn't feel good about that. Because to a large extent I felt that my confidence was being taken away and I was affected mentally, psychologically, you name it.
So this was because of the title that they were using on you.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is why I believe that it is important for people to actually think about titles. Because when I read a book written by Dr. Miles Monroe called Maximize Your Potential, a lot of scales were removed from my eyes and I started seeing life from a different perspective. I came up with a term that I called sanitation expert to change the garden boy aspect.
Okay.
And I remember approaching one of our senior pastors in the church, and I told him that if there was an opportunity for him to change that title, make an announcement in the church that Blessing is not a garden boy, he's a sanitation expert.
I like
because
that.
Words are powerful.
Yes, words are powerful. I like that.
That's right.
I just also want us to go a bit deeper, Dr. Mandipira, how life was like for you in that place. So you indicated that you had your title changed to sanitation expert. In that place where you were now working in the field, in the gardens and doing all the work, what sort of challenges did you face in that place?
Well, I think it was an issue of how people perceived me. Okay. But then I was lucky because I met a certain lady called Farirai Katongera.
Okay.
And Farirai Katongera said to me, "Blessing, should you come to me and you ask for money, I'll never give you. But what I'll do for you is to buy you books. So if you love books, then we can be best of friends." And I remember Farirai taking me to one of the bookshops in town, Innovate specifically. And she said to me, "Choose all the books that you would want to read." And I think she bought me over 50 books. And
That's
back then,
number.
Exactly, she was one of the rich aunties in the church. So yeah, we could expect big from here. So she invested in me, bought so many books for me, and I can tell you that as a result of the material that I was now feeding on, confidence started to build up and a new consciousness was created out of me. So I began to see myself differently, and also being exposed to certain people that began to fall in love with me, because once you begin to change what's there, your confidence goes on a different level and you begin to treat yourself differently, you walk differently, and you speak differently, and you attract the best of people.
Wow. Wow. So if I'm just, from what you're just sharing, Dr. Mandipira, you're indicating that the main challenge that you faced was on the aspect of identity. But this is something that you were able to turn around as you managed to read the books, and you were enlightened on who you are as a person, and that did help you overcome that particular challenge that you were facing.
And that's right. I think Les Brown once said, all of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. And as a result of creating that new consciousness that I'm talking about, the kind of material that you feed on, you create a new space in your mind that allows you to build faith and self-belief in yourself, and nothing then can hold you back.
So Dr. Mandipira, you're indicating that in that time that you finished your O-levels and you did not do well, your grandmother chased you out of the home. And the work that you found in that place, is the title that you now put was that of a sanitation expert. What other challenges did you face in this particular period?
So you realize that there are challenges that speak to being looked down upon by people that you're actually working for sometimes, and people that you're working with. So the issue of being looked down upon, because it affects your confidence and it affects everything. Number two, I think it was an issue of poverty. Lack has never been celebrated anyway. And anytime you have something meaningful to contribute to, say, as long as you're coming from down there, no one really appreciates even your ideas. So one has to definitely develop themselves in order for them to actually have a meaningful voice.
Let's take a short break, viewers. Do join me in the next segment. Thank you. Welcome back, viewers, to our program, Wholeness with Naomi. Before we went on a short break, Dr. Mandipira was just sharing with us some of the challenges that he faced. And in that, he indicated that one of the things that did help him overcome some of the challenges was reading. And it enlightened him. And it actually, the word was, it opened up my eyes to be able to see much differently and much better, more importantly, about his identity as a person. Dr. Mandipira, do share with us, what are some of those tools that did help you walk this path to get from that place? When we first started, we said you're not a tree, move. To get to that place where you moved, to get to the desired place that you wanted.
Very good. So I think one has to do with the first one that I spoke about, the importance of reading, because I think the white man coined a phrase, and the phrase was, if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. And I think most people actually leave that assertion. Yet you can decide to be different and take responsibility for your own personal growth as an individual. So that's number one. Number two, the second thing that I actually had to do, because I had failed my O-levels, I decided to rewrite. And when I wrote my exams, I passed. I also then did my A-level when I was there by the church, and I passed.
So what did you do differently as you were preparing for your exams? This is something that you had done initially and then you had failed. Is there anything that you did differently that enabled you to be able to pass on the next sitting?
100%. I started taking seriously my books. And of course, I had help from other people that had done well, who were now doing their A-levels. And they would also come to share with me nuggets and techniques and methods on how you can read better, focus 100% so that at least you make it. And that's exactly what ended up happening. So the importance of going back to school, pick yourself up even if it doesn't work out the first time, really did make a difference. And of course, I then passed my A-levels as well. It didn't take long for me to actually get an opportunity at Gateway Primary School. Miss Rickbeck, who was the headmaster then, said to me when I went for the interview, said to me, Blessing, we don't usually take children that would have gone to a school like Cranbourne Boys Eye, but there's something different about you. And as a result of that, I got the job to be a gap year teacher, and for 2 years, I worked at Gateway Primary School. I was teaching 2 subjects, English and Shona.
Okay, I like that.
Because of that change of environment, I was lucky enough to bump into some lady. Her name was Mrs. Shoko, who was married to Mr. Gary Shoko. Mr. Gary Shoko used to work for Century Bank, and he was the CEO of Century Bank. I think Shakespeare was right when he said that clothes maketh a man, because when I showed up at that particular school and was coming from the garden, people could literally tell that this child doesn't fit in. But Miss Shoko quickly picked it, and she decided to invest in me. She went back, spoke to the husband and said, there's a young man at Gateway Primary School. I think we can do something for him. They bought me brand new clothes, and for the first time, I wore a shirt written boss here, and I was wearing a suit. I looked at myself in the mirror, and my goodness, I didn't know I looked this good, handsome man.
You know, as you're even saying that, Dr. Mandipira, I recall an incident where I think there was a show at my child's school and they were required to come in suits. I bought a suit for my son.
Yeah.
I dressed him up before, and he looked at himself in the mirror and he said, Mom, I look like the president.
Wow. You're totally right, because clothes maketh a man, like what Shakespeare said. And today I tell people, dress like a prospect and not like a suspect, because sometimes in order for you to get to a different level of your life, you need to look the part, dress the part, even when things are not working as you would want them to.
So dress the future that you want.
You're totally right, 100%.
Okay.
Dress the future that you would want. I caught that from Naomi.
That's fine to say. You know, as you are sharing, the first thing that you said is that if you want to hide something from someone, put it in a book. And this is something that I personally experienced as well. There was a time, it was an unfortunate incident, however, where my car was broken into. The only thing that was in my car were books, and nothing was taken from the car. There were books that they could have taken, but they were left just like that.
Goodness me. That's sad for most of us, especially on the African continent. We could do better. Yeah. I think Milton Kamendo used to preach this gospel of going out there and telling people that we've got to read, we have got to grow, we've got to develop ourselves and push the limits, because books can literally change someone's life, 100%.
That's powerful. You know, one thing that is really coming out from your sharing, Dr. Mandipira, even from when you started working at the local church to now coming to the school that you were working, you're talking about the aspect of relationships. That's one thing that's really coming out. I spoke to the pastor that was there. I spoke to this person that was there. The other lady that with her husband that they bought clothes for you. All of these are relationships that were building into your life, building into that, into where you wanted to get to. Is this something that maybe you can just share with us? To what extent did relationships play a part in building you up as a person?
They played a very, very pivotal role. I remember the other time when I met the owner of Firstberg, who believed in me at a time I think I was at my lowest. And he would literally call me a millionaire. And I thought this man was crazy. How can you call me a millionaire when I have nothing? Not that I am a millionaire already, not yet, but I'm striving to get there. But the reason why he would speak like that is because I think he was trying to bombard me with positivity and to help me create a sense of faith and belief in myself. And I can tell you that it created a different human being in me. It inculcated the spirit of resilience and the spirit of persistence and perseverance. So no matter how hard and how bad things can be, I have developed a mental stamina that allows me to face anything. I remember he decided to take me to South Africa to be obviously get acquainted to the speaking profession when we had the likes of Robert Kiyosaki coming through to Centron Convention Center. Everything was paid for. And this is the man, for the first time, I had never been in a plane. He paid everything, all expenses paid. I was at Centron Convention Center for more than 2 weeks. And for the first time, I slept in a 5-star hotel. Ever been around, ever done this to yourself? Like, hey, is this me? Is this me? Hello? Yeah. You know, and I think it was an issue of relationships. And I love Les Brown. He speaks about what he calls the OQP, only quality people. That one has to be very intentional and deliberate in attracting the right people for himself or herself if they want to go far. So it's very important to surround yourself with people that see it like you see it. People who are interested or who love to grow and to better themselves, so that none of these people around us can look down upon us and make us feel inferior.
That's really powerful and quite profound, you know. Even viewers, as you're watching this show, I have a question for you. Whom are those people that are around you? What kind of words are they speaking into your life? You know, we do not make it alone in life, but we make it as we help each other, as we navigate life through relationships that are around us. Who is that who's around you? Just ponder on it. Whom are the people that you actually want in your life? How are you working towards that? A lot in the journey, as we say that, you know, you are not a tree, move if you are not happy with where you are. There's a lot of intentionality that is involved. As you're listening to Dr. Mandipira share his story, there was a lot of intentionality, starting from changing the name that he was addressed, going on to the relationships that were around him, and also the working hard, being diligent and working hard, redoing some of the work differently the next time, such that you'd get a better and a different result. Dr. Mandipira, share with us your journey to becoming the director, the executive director for the School of Public Speaking. How did that come about?
So remember, I spoke to you about the importance and the value of developing yourself as a human being. I think the biggest improvement is the improvement that you can do for you and for yourself as a human being. And I obviously joined what they call Toastmasters International, an organization that obviously equips people in leadership and also communication. When I joined that organization, my English was not as good as it is now. It was quite bad. I ever felt uncomfortable to express yourself in front of people. And for me, when I stood up and I wanted to deliver a speech about myself, you can imagine, and words could not come out. I tried again because these people would clap hands for me and say, give it a shot again. I did that, but hey, it didn't work out. So 2 or 3 times I tried, but I could not communicate well. I remember one of the evaluators who then came, and these were her words. Her name was Hazel. Hazel said to me, Blessing, I don't think you're cut out for speaking, and considering your height, I have a suggestion. Now, as you know me, you've seen me before, I'm quite tall. She suggested that I could try basketball.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that.
And it happened. And I did not go on that particular journey. I don't think I was called to play basketball. I love to motivate people. I love to encourage people. So I went to the bathrooms, I cried, I came back and I faced Hazel. And I told Hazel that I'm willing to come back on that stage again and again and again until I get it right. And I remember then obviously leaving the country to represent Zimbabwe in public speaking competitions in South Africa. And when I came back, I came second place and I got my flowers. People were elated. MAZ Marketers Association of Zimbabwe, Nkoma Gillian asked me to come through and speak to a group of CEOs at Pandari Lodge. And because of that, I then started actually doing professional speaking, and people would invite me to come and deliver presentations in their corporations, in their seminars, conferences, and of course, the rest is history. And as a result of that, so many people were calling me to come and help them with their speeches, coach and train. But some Chinese lady said to me, why don't you think about starting a school so that you can influence so many people and you can assist many people? That's how the idea of then having School of Public Speaking came into play. And in 2018, we did start School of Public Speaking. And we are elated to say we have trained thousands and thousands of people to obviously deal with the issues of stage fright, because it is a skill. It can be learnt, it can be mastered. You need not to be born a public speaker. It's all learnable. And anyone who so wishes to advance their communication skills, they need to come to the School of Public Speaking now.
And one thing that's really coming out, Dr. Mandipira, is that, you can learn. Even as you're talking about public speaking, you can learn. Viewers, what is it that you want to do? What is the vision that you have for yourself? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Even where you are now currently is not the place that you want to be, but what is the picture? What does it look like? What steps can you take to start working on that? Let's take a short break. Do join us in the next segment. Thank you. Welcome back, viewers, to our show, Wholeness with Naomi. Before we went on a short break, Dr. Mandipira was sharing with us his journey to establishing the School of Public Speaking. I want to ask, when you were the sanitation expert, did you see this bigger picture of where you are now currently?
I must admit, Naomi, that I never thought that this is what I would be in this life. But I think because I followed a purpose, I followed a passion, I'm not as well surprised that this is where I am. But where I am is not entirely where I am supposed to be. I believe that the dream is bigger than me. It's bigger than being in Zimbabwe alone.
Okay.
It's a vision that is supposed to affect and infect Africa.
Thank you so much for that. It's also encouraging to also hear a fellow Zimbabwean also saying that I'm going to go and impact Africa. That's a big vision. That's a big future that's ahead. Any last words, Dr. Mandipira, for our viewers? We have people that are sitting, watching this show, and they're in a place where maybe they're thinking, can I come out of this? I'm grown up now, and maybe they've accepted the reality of life now. But deep within, there's always that dream that keeps them alive that says, you can be. There's also a child that's watching this show who's aspiring to do great things like yourself say. What words can you share with them as they watch you today?
I want to say to everyone who seems to be in a bad place and you feel discouraged, remember the words that were spoken to Joshua from the Bible. The words were, fear not. Fear not. Age does not define a person. Dreams, gifts and talents and purpose and skills and having a desire and insatiable appetite to want to change your life, you can change it. Small steps, big journeys. Being a person who is willing to learn from others. You can always better your best. You can always start from where you are, small steps, with what you know, with what you have, and see your life turn around. It's possible for all of us.
Profound words, Dr. Mandipira. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Viewers, you've heard it. Small steps with what you have. The journey is not with the swift or those that can run faster, but time and chance happens to us all. but be prepared for that time and chance as it happens or comes upon you. Do join me in the next episode, viewers, as you continue in wholeness. Thank you.